Hello, welcome to Levant TV Headlines. Britain's Defence Minister Michael Fallon has signalled a possible shift in policy by saying it's illogical that Royal Air Force jets conduct airstrikes against Islamic State extremists in Iraq, but not in Syria. The Egyptian cabinet has approved two new legislations, a law to counter terrorism and another law to regulate parliamentary elections. A UN envoy has expressed optimism that a humanitarian pause in the fighting in Yemen can still be reached in the 2 remaining weeks of Ramadan to allow aid into war-ravaged country of Yemen, of course. And about 12 people have been detained in the investigation into a massacre at a beach resort that killed 38 people, mostly British tourists, in Tunisia. And Libya's rival governments will not return to peace talks this week after rebel forces rejected the latest proposal, defying threats the UN Security Council would impose sanctions on anyone who stands in the way of a deal. And now let's have a look at the top headlines in today's newspapers in the Middle East. From the UAE, the Khalij Times leads reporting that the ISIS group militants launched an unprecedented wave of attacks on Egyptian soldiers in the Sinai Peninsula, which killed at least 100 people in a major challenge to President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. The paper also reports that Saudi tycoon Prince Al-Walid bin Talal has promised his entire $32 billion fortune to charitable projects in coming years, in one of the biggest ever such pledges. From Beirut, the Daily Star leads reporting that a split cabinet convened for the first time in nearly a month and ended in a quarrel between ministers after they failed to reach an understanding over the issue of security appointments. The paper also reports that the Lebanese army killed 3 Syria-based militants trying to set up a multiple rocket launcher near the northeastern border town of Arsal. The Egypt Independent leads reporting that Egyptian security forces stormed an apartment in the western Cairo suburb of the 6th of October and killed 9 men whom they said were armed. The paper also reports that Egypt's army said more than 100 militants and 17 soldiers were killed in simultaneous attacks on military checkpoints in North Sinai, and the most sustained fighting of its kind in years in the restive province. Now let's have a look at papers here in London. The Guardian leads reporting that Tunisian security forces have arrested 8 people suspected of having links to the jihadi killing of foreign tourists at a beach resort last week. Kamel Jindoubi, the minister in charge of government relations with civil society, said 12 people in total had been detained since the attack, but 4 have since been released. The Telegraph is reporting that a hardline Islamist group in Syria has released a video showing its fighters shooting dead a group of alleged Islamic State captives. Jaish al-Islam posted the recording online in a carefully choreographed reversal of ISIS's own tactic of murdering prisoners and gruesome public spectacles. Also from the UK, the Independent leads reporting that the government has been accused of ignoring its own evidence that British weaponry may have been used by Israel in its assault on Gaza last year after fresh arms deals worth £4 million were approved by Britain within weeks of the conflict. Figures seen by the Independent reveal that the UK gave the go-ahead for dozens of military exports to Israel, including components for drones and air-to-surface missiles in the immediate aftermath of Operation Protective Edge. Now let's have a look at the top Middle East headlines in international papers. From Berlin, the Deutsche Welle reports, following a series of attacks in Egypt's North Sinai region that killed at least 70 soldiers and civilians on Wednesday, state security forces stormed an apartment in a suburb in western Cairo. 9 members of the now outlawed Muslim Brotherhood, including a former parliamentarian, were killed in the raid. And finally, the International New York Times reports that Iranian President Hassan Rouhani will meet with the head of the International Atomic Energy Agency today in an effort to resolve differences over the inspection of military sites. Yukiya Amano, the head of the Atomic Energy Agency, will also hold talks with Ali Khamenei, the Secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council. And for more updates, please visit levant.tv. Thanks for watching Press Review, and bye for now.